What do you think the reality?
So a main point of what I'm about to say is you cannot teach culture and how cultures interact, especially to someone who has no interest in cultures coming together. And I think that quote is really important when talking about what he just said about watermelon, fried chicken, comparing it to the joke about tuna. All right, so this is probably going to be the most open I've ever been on a video talking about this amazing topic. So I grew up in a 99% white town. I often heard many things that were really bad. This racist humor. Let's make a little short list just off the top of the dome. So, 1, black people have extra muscle in their legs, and that's why they jump and run higher. 2, hey look, there's an NBA game on TV. The monkeys are running around again. You'll walk into a bar and hear that. 3, oh, there's hip-hop music playing. Wow, I hate this tribal music. And there's like a million other things that I heard growing up in my hometown. But the point of bringing that up is the Tim Walz joke about white people tacos or whatever is going crazy right now on conservative media. And I need to tell you, I have like 10 minutes worth of those, by the way, because I grew up in an area where there's a lot of skinheads. We didn't really have KKK, but I know who the former skinheads were. And I don't know if they know that I know, but I know that you were a skinhead, and I know that you're a huge Trump supporter now, and I know you are still telling our kids that black people have a warrior gene, and that's why they commit crime or whatever. But now there's this whole culture war happening, and I want to let you all know, everyone on the right supporting Trump, far right, all you populist, conservative commentators, whatever. After 15 years or 10 years, whatever, of toxic masculinity and white fragility being in the conversation, after all of these years, you are proving these concepts more correct than 5 million years of academia could. And let's get to this guy. This guy is actually amazing right here. Matt Walsh. Okay. All right.
Speaking of anti-white bigots, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz put out a very weird video yesterday. They sat down and I guess pretended to have dinner together or something. And I don't know what the point of the video was, but I guess the point was to show us that, oh, they're real people, just like you and me. Oh, look, they're eating a meal. I eat meals. They're just like me. I should vote for them. This is the quality I'm looking for in a leader. I want to know.
Weren't they just bragging about Elon Musk and Donald Trump talking about like evicting poor people and sacrificing workers to capitalism for like 2 hours? They were like really sloppily going through a bunch of policies, and Trump's like, I'm going to eliminate the entire government, and Elon Musk is like, yeah, cool, and they just went back and forth and agreed with each other. Weren't we just talking about that on X, Twitter, whatever? Weren't you just like really fanboying over that?
No, that this is someone who eats food. But so maybe that was the point. I don't know. But here's the video that Tim Walz posted to his social media accounts. Let's watch.
Like I have white guy tacos and
what does
like
that
black,
mean? Like mayonnaise and tuna? What are you doing?
pretty much ground beef and cheese.
That's
and,
okay. Do you put any flavor in it?
No.
Oh.
Here's the deal. No, they said to be careful and let her know this, that black pepper is the top of the spice level in Minnesota, you know.
I'm the first vice president, I believe, who has ever grown chili peppers.
I'm trying to expand my food knowledge.
You know, we've got some cantaloupes. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so now most people seem to be focused on the fact that this is so awkward and fake and lame, but everyone's skipping over the more important point, which is that a presidential candidate just casually dropped anti-white racism in the middle of what was supposed to be a lighthearted video. You know, Tim Walz says that he makes white guy tacos, and Kamala says, what is that, mayonnaise and tuna? Like, that is anti-white racism.
Bro, he's not being for real. Is he actually doing this? I didn't see this video yet. He's like emotional. In what was supposed to be a lighthearted video, they casually dropped anti-white racism.
Tuna? Like, that is anti-white racism. That's what that is. And if you don't believe...
Okay, I get it, okay? So what's happening right now is it's obviously satire. You know, they've said that liberals are crybabies for the past, 500 years. So right now, he's gonna pretend to be a crybaby because he's mocking liberals, right?
Believe that, right? If you think that I'm overstating the case, All right, well, just imagine it the other way. Imagine a black guy says to Donald Trump, I make black guy tacos. And Donald Trump says, oh, what is that, like fried chicken and watermelon? Maybe sprinkle some Kool-Aid powder over top. Am I right? How do you think everybody would react to that? What do you think the reaction?
So a main point of what I'm about to say is you cannot teach culture and how cultures interact, especially to someone who has no interest in cultures coming together. And I think that quote is really important when talking about what he just said about watermelon, fried chicken, comparing it to the joke about tuna. So watermelon and fried chicken, that stereotype was started by racism. White people and black people existed in a world, I know we forget about this, where black people were considered to be animals by white people. And black people had access to fried chicken and watermelon. Watermelon was a symbol of liberation. And they also had fried chicken because a lot of black people had chickens, and that was a really easy, cheap source of food. And during these liberation movements, white people had to keep black people in this box of looking like animals or whatever. So whenever black people did something to survive, that became their innate act. So white people said that black people eat fried chicken because that's how they are. That's how these animals are. They eat fried chicken. They eat watermelon. That's just innate to how they act. It's just innate to, being black. And essentially, it was based off of racism, reinforced. They also said that black people ate fried chicken because they love ripping animals apart and they love eating from the bone like savages. Same with watermelon. Depictions of black people eating watermelon with a huge rinds. And making black people look like the racist images that many people had to grow up with. It's very different from talking to a white guy and mentioning tuna. Consider this Obama cartoon. Why would this individual, and this happened like 15 years ago, they came under fire for making this, but why would this individual make toothpaste that's watermelon flavored? You wouldn't make a thing about a white guy having toothpaste because it's tuna fish flavored or whatever. Why is it inherent that Obama would like watermelon? Why does he need to? We need to understand that when talking about watermelon and fried chicken, that's not a punchline. That's part of black people being oppressed in American history. If you take a little bit to actually read history and learn the context, you'll understand that. Talking about tuna and a white person not like flavoring their food enough is a really fun cultural humor that happens when people come together, they have an understanding, and they're able to make actual jokes. That's not demeaning, that's not about racism, that's not about making someone feel lesser. But the coming together part is what is scaring so many of these conservative commentators. They don't like seeing integration actually working. They don't like seeing a woman from Kamala's background and a man from Tim Walz's background being able to make humor like this that is self-deprecating. By the way, self-deprecating Midwestern dad humor is awesome. So Tim Walz is great there. But they don't want to see this. They want everything to be about race and to be about gender. And I argued in the past that the left has played too much into the right's hands when it comes to this. But Kamala Harris's campaign, if you've noticed, is not focusing on her identity as a woman of color at all. That is not a main focus. They are letting the right come out and look very weird because now the right's obsessed with it. They're lost. They are lost without being able to obsess on social issues and culture war. They don't know what to do. Look at Matt Walsh. Look at Ben Shapiro. Look at Charlie Kirk. Look at every person in Trump's campaign right now. They are obsessed over race and gender. They have nowhere to go without it.
How do you think everybody would react to that? What do you think the reaction would be? Nuclear meltdown. Literally. I mean, they would probably shoot a nuclear missile at Donald Trump for that. They would execute him via nuclear attack if you were to say something like that. I mean, the outrage would be so immense, we would never hear the end of it.
They're so unserious. Everything they do is projecting. I guarantee you. And this is a theory I've had the past few months and years, whatever. Anything that the right wing right now claims liberals do, they are actually doing it. I literally saw Matt Walsh and Charlie Kirk and all them say earlier that Kamala's campaign is actually just a media push, and it's not really a campaign. It's a reality TV show with no actual policies. And Kamala's talking about stuff like she's running for class president, just handing out everything. Meanwhile, Donald Trump literally has ran a reality TV show as presidential campaigns for 8 years, still doesn't have a healthcare plan. When Trump does come to the podium, he literally just says, she's bad, communist, manifesto, socialist, fascist, she's bad, Great Depression, Banana Republic, I'm good, she bad, I'm good, she's bad, I'm good. He says that 1,500 times with a very limited vocabulary and leaves, and they say that's poignant. Everything they say right now, there would be an outrage. They would fire literal nuclear missiles. Who are the people that are saying the country's going to end every single presidential election? Who are the people saying that we're going to have a 1929 depression every single presidential election? Who are the people saying that we're going to have a race war in America because of normal immigration phases, whatever? Who are the people that are throwing mass hysteria right now about the condition of the world when we're at the best place in human history that we've ever been? What group is that? What group is crying right now?
The date of this black guy taco comment would be remembered by the media forever and memorialized. Like for years after, they would solemnly refer to 8/16, right? We'd have January 6th. Do you remember 8/16? I remember where I was on 8/16.
Well, January 6th, Trump tried overturning a Democratic election through multiple fronts. And by the way, I literally just said everything they criticize about liberals is something they actually do and project, which is another example of 2020 when they said Democrats stole the election after winning by 7.5 million votes, and when Trump is actually the one that tried stealing it. Another example of what I just said.
Day of the fried chicken and watermelon taco joke. They would be weeping in the street. They would build statues and memorials to the lives lost because of the taco joke. KFC and Kool-Aid companies would come out and denounce Trump over this. So would every watermelon distributor in the country.
We get it. You're a victim. Carry on with another point. You're a victim. You're a victim. We get it. That's like number 25 of the items on why you're a victim. You don't have to keep listing why you're a victim. Move on to a different point.
We all know that. This is another one of those things where like there are people that are going to clip this. They're going to take this clip of me saying that the comment from Kamala Harris was anti-white racism, and they're going to try to present it as though it's just like on its face absurd. And yet even they know that what I'm saying is 1,000% true, because you damn well know that comment the other way, it wouldn't even be a discussion about whether it's racist. It would be considered the most racist thing a president has ever done, including the presidents who own slaves. And
I'm going to give a little task to everyone who's saying this right now, all right? I need you to find me a point in American history where white people were oppressed on the basis of their skin color, all right? So the joke was about tuna that Kamala said, right? The tuna and mayonnaise or something like that. I want you to also connect to where in American history would tuna, white people, and a white person's legal right to identify as a human being be tied together. I want to know how those three things are tied together. Because I can tell you easily, very descriptively, after doing a 10-second Google search, maybe not 10 seconds, it's more complicated than that. But I can tell you rather easily after even a couple hours of dedication, how a black person's personhood, you know, saying that black people are not animals, how that is tied together with watermelon and fried chicken stereotypes, how that is tied together with black people being legally not considered men, legally not considered women, legally not considered human. I can tie those three things together. Matt Walsh cannot tie his white oppression complex together at all. It's a foundation of nothing. It falls apart at the seams the moment it's challenged.
And that's
You saw this guy on Joe Rogan talking about gay marriage. Even accidentally, someone could beat this guy in a debate, Matt Walsh.
And that's in spite of the fact that the watermelon fried chicken trope for black people is actually significantly less racist than what Kamala said. Because black people have a reputation for liking fried chicken and watermelon because that's something that actually does come out of black culture. Black comedians make jokes about that kind of stuff all the time. That sort of joke comes from a place of...
It's about black culture and reclaiming it because black people did use these resources as a means for survival for many years. But the reason they have to reclaim it is because the stereotype was decided by white racism. That's why it needs to be reclaimed. And Matt Walsh is just gonna like ignorantly, I don't want to use the word ignorant because he's just like, he knows he's not telling the truth. He's not being honest right now. He is a grifter. He does not believe this, but he's still a dumbass.
Recognition
To be fair.
and
To be
affection,
clear.
really. Like, it's not offensive. There's nothing offensive. Fried chicken's great. Who doesn't like fried chicken?
And this is what they do. They want to avoid all historical context about anything that disagrees with them, all right? If you ask them about, like, why they think white men should be the only ones that can vote and why America should be a Christian nation, then Matt Walsh and Charlie Kirk will turn into freaking artificial intelligence historians that have every known data point, every text known to man uploaded in their brains about white men and property owners should be the only ones allowed to vote. If you ask them that question, they're freaking amazing at recalling history. But yeah, you ask them about like why these things are like considered racist. They have no recollection. It's just like food, it's delicious. Why would anyone care?
Yeah,
It's actually
it's
more
on
racist.
the level of
Tuna's
like,
more racist.
making a joke about how Asian people are good at math. It's like, yeah, it's stereotypical. They're not all good at math, but it's not bad to be good at math. It does come from a place of like, a lot of them are good at math. And that is also, it's the kind of thing you listen to an Asian comedian. They'll make those kinds of jokes. On the other hand, the mayonnaise thing for white people it's purely spiteful and hateful. There's not any kind of affection in it. There's not any kind of recognition. It's not something that actually comes from white people or white culture. White people don't actually have any special affinity for mayonnaise. There's not any, like, it doesn't come from, you talk to white people, they're like, you know what, I love mayonnaise. Doesn't happen. It's not a thing. The mayonnaise trope, it comes from like the most spiteful corners of Black Twitter. That's where you'll find those kinds of jokes. They'll refer to white people as the mayonnaise people, that kind of thing. I mean, it's a dumb insult. It's really stupid, but it's quite.
Brother, your side was just saying that Kamala Harris wasn't born in the U.S. and she's not really black like a week ago, bro.
Like spiteful. It's just like a hateful, we hate you and don't like you kind of joke. So it is an insult that some black people came up with to make fun of white people. It's not good-natured or friendly or grounded in any kind of affection or recognition at all. So what Kamala said is worse. Like, it's significantly worse, and yet it barely raises an eyebrow. It does, yeah, whatever. And the double standard on these things is so pronounced and so obvious and so in our face and so pervasive that even a lot of conservatives get tired of pointing it out.
Do you need 3 synonyms for everything you're describing? Like, he's searching for synonyms to make his like bullshit statement last longer. And I want to make a non-unscientific, this is not based on data, but the only people who think a watermelon fried chicken joke is funny are racist. And if you think those jokes are hilarious, then you got to check yourself, buddy.
And I get that. I understand why you get tired of pointing it out, but what's the other option? To just let it go? I can't let it go. I'm not going to let it slide. Like, someone has to point it out. The other option is to just allow it and be okay with it and pretend that it's not happening when we all know that it is. And that's not an option that I find.
Look at his face. Look at this guy's face. He knows he doesn't believe this. And I want to make for all the like 5 really far right people that make it to this point in the video, I want to make sure we talk about individuals like whatever this guy's name is, I forget already. But they survive and grow, they thrive in conditions where you don't have information. They are only successful if you don't understand anything about actual American history, if you only take their framing and their context of things. So I would really encourage that you come to spaces like mine. We have these conversations. I know I will talk in a way that's like, I'm just done with this because we've been dealing with this for so long, and I'm sick of having these conversations, and I'm sure that a lot of people are, especially if you're in a group that's being attacked constantly. But I do truly believe in growth. I believe in the conversation. And these manipulative monsters who are trying to send our country off a cliff for their pockets to be more full because media agencies will pay them to share fake information, we can beat them, and you can join us. I swear, we can go through this. We can talk about everything. We'll make A good effort. I promise. Okay. I've said more about the racist stuff I've heard growing up in this video. I've been more raw in this video than I've been in every video, or, you know, any video at all that I put on this channel. And I'm winging it, basically. I will probably upload this because it's 2024, so who cares? But yeah, I hope I did a good job. I don't know. Tell me what you think.